Hi, I am Kengo Hayashi. I am gastrointestinal surgeon in Japan. Nowadays, the importance of laparoscopic surgery is increasing tremendously, given the fact suturing contests began to be held all over the world. I'm just trainees, but fortunately I could win the competition for several times. Before participating in the contest, I considered about how to win the contest. To summarize my ideas, I made this video. I hope this video helps some trainees of lap-suturing. In this video, I want to show the tips for how to win the suturing contest. Rules of the contest in Japan. The procedure of the most suturing contest in Japan is inserting a needle from one trocar, making a stitch, suturing for 2 times, and cutting the thread and pulling the needle out of the trocar. We can use any types of trocars and insert or pull out the needle through any trocar. We use normal dry boxes, and usually a needle is 3/0 and the thread is braided 1. Now I'll move on to tips. Tip 1 is adjust the length of a thread. If you can change the length of a thread, you must adjust it as you like. Pulling a long thread for several times is a waste of time in the contest. My preferred length of a thread is 9 to 10 centimeters. The length of this thread in this movie is about 10 centimeters. This length is best for me. Actually, it's too short for clinical usage, but I think it's a suitable length to make a stitch quickly. And this is the case with a long thread. I made some mistakes, but apparently it took additional times to pull the thread. The time was 19.8 seconds. And this is the case with a short thread. In this case, I don't have to pull the thread for several times, so I could finish the procedure quicker than previous one. The time was 15.4 seconds. Tip 2. Grab a needle at the best position. Most people tend to focus on how fast you suture. Of course, it is a very essential and important point, but in the contest, you have to suture for only 2 times. We have to compete the time to finish all procedures. So what I want to say is, you should grab a needle at the best position as quick as you can. Then the time will be faster. For that, you should grab a thread with forceps at the best position before inserting a trocar. Then you will grasp a needle at the best position in high possibility. So I want to grab a needle like this, so the angle and the position of the needle should be like this. So if I grab the thread like this, it is easy to grab a needle at the best position. Tip 3. Image the position you are suturing. There is a suitable position or spot to suture in the field of a dry box. So you should image where you're going to suture before you start. If you have a good image, I think you can suture smoothly. So you should decide where you are gonna suture before start. Tip 4. Suture at 80% of the maximum speed. Even though you are very good at suturing quickly, it might be better to suture at 80% of the maximum speed. Our goal is to get the fast time to finish all the procedure in high possibility. At least for me, it's difficult to finish all the procedures at my maximum speed every time. It leaves mistakes. Needless to say, the suturing part is the most difficult, so you shouldn't hurry too much. Tip 5. Suture in the same stream. When you suture, you should do in the same stream. You shouldn't stop. So when you twist the forceps like this, you shouldn't stop. After making a loop like this, then you should move the forceps directly to the short tail. When you suture, the procedures are to make a loop, twist forceps to a thread, and grab the short tail with forceps. You should do these procedures in the same stream, not separately. When I twist forceps, I usually pay attention to the short tail, so suturing in the same stream will make the movement of suturing smoother. So when you're twisting the forceps, you should think which direction the forceps go to. Tip 6. Stick to the basics. Needless to say, you shouldn't forget the basics. Please refer to my video Knacks and Tips of Laparoscopic Suturing for Beginners to Intermediate 2017. Making a good loop to suture and adjusting the angle of forceps and so on are very important. Conclusion. We compete the time not only for suturing but for finishing all the procedures. I think you should focus on each part of procedures and notice which part of the procedures is your weak point. In this video, tip 2, 4, 5 are the main parts of the procedures. What I want to say in this video is the most important point is how to finish all the procedures smoothly in high possibility. You have to get a good time at the contest every time, so lucky quickest time is not needed. Steady quick time is needed. This is a summary of tips. I also measure the time for several times, maybe 15 or 20 times. I'm showing the best and second best one. I still made some mistakes. I think it's because I'm in a hurry too much. So I also need more and more practice.